The story of Paddy Pimblett begins where so many great fighters are forged, not in gleaming arenas, but in the cracked pavement and cramped row houses of Huyton, Liverpool. This working-class suburb doesn't gift opportunities, it demands they be taken. Young Patrick Pimblett learned this lesson early. The youngest of four brothers in a household where toughness wasn't taught. It was breathed in like the damp Mersey air. His childhood wasn't about nurturing talent, but surviving. Whether that meant dodging bullies or his brother's wrestling holds on the stained living room carpet. There's something poetic about how Paddy found combat sports. Not through some inspirational movie or champion's biography, but because at 14 years old, he needed somewhere to channel the restless energy that got him kicked out of school more times than he could count. Next Generation MMA became his sanctuary, though sanctuary might be too gentle a word for that sweatbox gym where teenage Paddy would get tossed around by grown men twice his size, only to spring up grinning through bloody lips. The coaches saw it immediately. This wasn't just another scrawny kid looking for discipline. This was raw, untamed potential wrapped in reckless enthusiasm. Those early years shaped Paddy's fighting soul. While other prospects were drilling perfect technique, Paddy was developing something far more dangerous: the ability to thrive in chaos. His fights on the regional circuit weren't matches, they were spectacles. A whirlwind of flying submissions, backflips off the cage, and a mouth that never stopped running. The crowds loved him not because he was polished, but because he was real. A Scouse Street kid who fought like every bout might be his last meal ticket. When he captured the Cage Warriors lightweight title in 2016, the moment should have been triumphant. Instead, watching Paddy sob uncontrollably in the cage, you realize this wasn't just about a belt. This was about proving, to Huyton, to his family, most of all to himself, that the kid everyone wrote off could actually amount to something. But the cruel irony of combat sports is that just when you think you've conquered your demons, they come back heavier. The years after that title win would test Paddy in ways no opponent ever could. Injuries piled up. The pressure of being the next big thing in British MMA became a noose. Worst of all was the creeping darkness he couldn't out-wrestle. The depression that saw him balloon to 200 pounds, lying on his couch for days, convinced his moment had passed. There's a particular loneliness that comes with being a fighter who can't fight. For 18 long months, Paddy Pimblett became a ghost in his own life. The Instagram taunts dried up. The gym felt like a museum of past glories. Even his trademark curls lost their bounce as he wandered Liverpool's streets. Equal parts local legend and cautionary tale. What saved him wasn't some grand revelation, but the same Scouse stubbornness that got him in trouble as a kid. A text message from an old training partner: "Dana's asking about you." A chance encounter with a fan who still believed. The slow realization that the cage wasn't just where he performed, it was where he belonged. The UFC debut in 2021 wasn't just a comeback, it was a resurrection. From the moment he strutted out to walk like an Egyptian, the old Paddy was back, but different. The skills were sharper, the body disciplined, but the soul still gloriously, unapologetically chaotic. That first-round submission win wasn't just a victory, it was a middle finger to everyone who said he'd blown his shot. What followed was the Paddy Pimblett experience in full bloom. The post-fight call-outs that went viral. The wild press conferences where he'd roast opponents with Scouse slang so thick it needed subtitles. The way he made every fight week feel like a Liverpool pub crawl. But beneath the showmanship was a fighter evolving before our eyes, adding boxing nuance to his brawling, tightening his legendary ground game, learning to pace himself beyond just swing until someone falls over. His battles with Jordan Levitt and Jared Gordon revealed the duality of Paddy. One moment he's doing a Mortal Kombat fatality celebration, the next he's breaking down in tears talking about a friend's suicide. This wasn't just a fighter, it was a full human experience, flaws and all, playing out under the bright lights. With a professional record of 21 wins and 3 losses, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett has carved his name into MMA history with a mix of flashy finishes and gritty performances. After turning pro in 2012, he quickly made waves on the regional circuit, capturing the Cage Warriors Featherweight Championship in 2016 with a slick rear-naked choke submission over Johnny Fracci. a victory that announced him as one of Europe's most exciting prospects. His UFC debut in 2021 marked a new chapter, where he submitted Luigi Vendramini in a wild back-and-forth brawl that showcased his trademark resilience. His most dominant UFC performance came against Jordan Leavitt, whom he choked out in the second round before performing Leavitt's own signature dead body celebration in a moment of pure showmanship. Though his controversial decision win over Jared Gordon raised debates, Paddy's ability to draw crowds and finish fights, with 16 of his 21 wins coming by stoppage, cements his place as one of the sport's most electrifying lightweights. Whether loved or loathed, his record proves one thing. When Paddy steps into the cage, chaos, and usually a highlight reel finish, follows. One of the most intriguing fights in Paddy Pimblett's career came against the legendary Tony Ferguson at UFC 296. In December 2023, Ferguson, a former interim lightweight champion on a 6-fight skid, but still dangerous, represented Paddy's biggest name opponent yet. A true test of whether the Baddy belonged in the UFC's upper echelon. The fight played out as a tactical battle, with Paddy showing uncharacteristic patience, using his grappling to control Ferguson against the cage and on the ground. While not the explosive finish fans expected, Paddy's unanimous decision victory proved he could adapt his game against a crafty veteran. However, the win was bittersweet. Many criticized Paddy for failing to finish a fading Ferguson, while others argued it showcased his maturity. For Ferguson, it marked a heartbreaking 7th straight loss, but for Paddy, it was a stepping stone, proving he could outwork a former elite fighter, even if questions about his ceiling at 155 pounds lingered. The fight didn't deliver the fireworks of Paddy's earlier bouts, but it revealed a more calculated version of the Baddy, one still evolving under the bright lights. Paddy Pimblett's greatest achievement might not be any belt or bonus, but how he's redefined what a modern fighter can be. In an era of corporate-sponsored sameness, he's remained stubbornly, gloriously himself, the kid from Huyton who never stopped being real, even when the UFC tried to sand down his rough edges. His impact transcends wins and losses. Watch the kids in Liverpool MMA gyms now. They're not trying to be the next McGregor. They're growing their hair out, working on their trash talk, embracing the beautiful madness Paddy brought to the game. He's proof you don't need to come from money or privilege to make it, just an unshakable belief in yourself and the willingness to bleed for it. As Paddy stands today, a UFC superstar with the world at his feet, but still posting videos eating kebabs outside his childhood home, the story feels complete, yet just beginning. Because the best fighters aren't just athletes. They're living, breathing proof that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. And Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, he's just getting started. And in his latest fight, he faced up against Michael Chandler, who's a former title challenger, and he put an absolute fireworks in that fight. He totally dominated the fight, and he TKO'd Chandler in 3rd round. It's one of his greatest achievements in his UFC career.